And away we go. So we're going to put forms in our website, or a form in our website. And a form is nothing more than just a way for the end users to communicate back with you, send you some information. And putting the forms in is fairly simple. Getting them to actually send you the information, that's a little trickier. So anyway, we'll go over it all. I'm going to put my form into my contact page. So I'm opening my contact page, and right here you can see that we have our form fields, but I'm going to delete those and I'm going to add a form right there. Okay, so over to insert, and oh look, I'm right here on forms, ready to go. The top, these are just your regular old forms. Nothing fancy about those, but they work. But down here at the bottom we have some SPRY validation forms, and they have a little bit more going for them, so we're going to use those and see how they work. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on SPRY validation text field, and I'm going to give it an ID, and this is going to be name. Alright, and that's all I'm going to type, and then I'm just going to say enter. Right away it's going to ask me if I want to add a form tag, and yes I do. So it'll encapsulate all the form parts inside of a form tag. And you can see the form tag is this red line right here. Okay, so here's our SPRY text field. And what I can do right away is come down here and fill this with a hint. What am I supposed to type here? You're supposed to type your name. So I'm going to just put name. Hopefully they'll figure out that it's supposed to be their name. Okay, I'll hit enter there. Minimum and maximum number of characters. Well, I don't want them to type a paragraph in here, so I'm going to set the maximum number of characters to 20. If you have more than 20 characters in your name, then, well, I'm sorry. Anyway, the preview status, we're going to say that this is required. Okay? So something has to be put in here, and that takes care of our minimum amount of characters. And then validate. Validate means that it's going to check to make sure that there's something typed in here at all. Okay? And validate on blur simply means that once I type in here and then I move to the next box to fill in, this will no longer be the focus, but it will be blurred. So then it will check it out, and then it will give you some kind of an error message here if you haven't completed the field correctly. Okay? So that's all I'm going to do right here. I'm going to click out here, hit return one more time, and we're going to put one more of those in. So SPRY validation text field. And this one's going to be called email. Just like that. And on this one, I'm going to do everything pretty much the same, but I'm going to add one more little caveat here. I'm going to say that this is an email address. So the type of is email address will alert this field that it needs to be have a valid format. And the format would, of course, include an @ symbol and a dot. If it has those two things, then it will be a valid email address. I mean, sometimes people forget to put those things in, so it's nice to say, hey, you're not paying attention, pay attention. Okay. The other thing we're going to do is make sure that we validate this on blur, so that first checkbox right there. And on to the next field. Clicking right here, I'm going to hit return one more time, and this will be the message area. So in this case, I want a text area. And I'm going to call it message. And that's all. It pops right in there. Let me move this up. The hint on this one, I guess, would be your message or a message. And I can set the minimum and maximum characters here. I want at least one character and a maximum of 350. I don't want to read all that much. I want to validate this again on blur. Also, you can add things like counters. We can tell them characters remaining so they know how many characters they can continue to type. And then here we'll block the extra characters. So if they get beyond 350, it'll just stop typing, and hopefully they'll notice. Maybe they won't, but well, if their name has more than 20 characters in it, what can you expect? Okay, so this, except for one more thing, is what we're going to put in here. I'm going to click right here and hit return one more time, and then I'm going to add my button, because what what form would be complete without a button? And I'm going to use a regular old button because there's no special spry button. So here we go, button. I'm going to call my button submit. And there it is. It already has the default name of submit. You can type whatever you want in here and it will change the name of your button. But know this, that red line encapsulates all of this form. If it doesn't, then it's not going to be submitted or not be part of the form. So you have to make sure that it's inside of this tag, okay? And speaking of this tag, and while we're here, if I click on this red line anywhere, when I click the submit button, it will post it. And where it posts it should be back to your website, wherever this is coming from. Specifically to a page of code that can decipher this information that's being given to it, break it down, and then forward it to an email address that you specify. That kind of information you're going to have to deal with your internet service provider, your host company. Your host company, whoever it is, GoDaddy or biz.nif, will have that information available for you, how to use their form mail forwarding services, okay? So that's just something you're going to have to dig through and figure out how to do. But know that you need to put something here so that when you click submit, it goes somewhere. Otherwise, it won't go anywhere. Okay, so let's take a look at this. I'm going to save it. It saves a bunch of fun little CSS and JavaScript that we didn't have to type, and that's why it's so fun. And then I'm going to go out here and we'll check it in Google Chrome. Yes, save everything, please. And here it is. So now I can type my name, which is your listener, and then an email address, and then, oh dear, this is not an email address, invalid format, because it has no @ symbol and period. That is a valid email address. And then fill out my thing. You can notice down here that as I type, my counter continues to decrease in number. Then I hit submit, and I'm back to the same page. Okay, you probably want to send it to some kind of a page that says, thanks for sending your information. We'll get back to you in a month or two. Okay, so back over here. Now that we have all of our parts in, here, oh, I didn't want to do that. Get out of there. We're going to check our site for compatibility with other browsers. Okay. Now, I keep as many browsers loaded on my machine as I can, but I can't load all the versions of all those browsers and test them all in each version. So Dreamweaver has a nice little way of doing that for you, or helping you out with that. And I'm going to go over here to the index page just to start with, and I'm going to look for this guy right here, which says check browser compatibility. And when I check on that, I'll open this dialog box here. It runs a check right away, and it lets you know and stacks up the problems that you might have with browsers. Now, what is it checking against? If I go out here to this little flyout menu, I can go to settings, and it will tell me that it's checking all of these browsers and back as far as all of those versions. So Internet Explorer back to version 5, and everything back before that. So if it's important that you reach as many browsers and versions as you can, then you should probably leave these all on the oldest versions that they're set to. And that's what I'm going to do. The nice thing is that it not only tells you that there's a problem and what the problem has to do with. In this case, it's that the content doesn't fit the width or height of a box, and then what software it's actually going to foul up, and the likelihood that it will foul that software up. It also gives you some solutions to the problem. So if I can't fix this myself, then I will go to View Solutions, and it offers sometimes code that you can copy and paste to fix things. It's really very handy. So to find out where this problem is, I can simply double click on it. It highlights it here for me, which is nice. Just judging by what this says, that the content is bigger than the box, I'm going to check the size of the content here. And if I click on it, I'm looking at the image of my logo now. You know I'm looking at the image when I have those three handles. I can come down to the width of that logo. Oops, let me do this one more time. I'm looking at the wrong thing. If I look at the width of the logo, it says 267 by 91, height 91. And then if I go back here and click on the container, my div logo container, it's telling me that my width is only 262. So if I change that to 267, then my problem should go away. Let's see. I'm going to run the report again by clicking here and then check browser compatibility again. Problem solved. Okay, so I don't have to go out here and check how to fix stuff. All right, and then simply all you want to do, save the page after you fix the problem, saving the page, go to the next page. Here's the gallery page. Run the code. All good here. Gallery had the most stuff on it too. It's got all kinds of crazy doodads, so that's good. Run it again. Okay, good. So index, gallery, contact. Let's see which ones are missing. The about page, going to open that one and run. Look at that. I'm so happy. And that's it. All my HTML pages are good to go. If I had my thank you page in there, I'd test it as well. So now we're ready to publish our website, and that will be in the next video.